man. So, hey, listen, this is Red River Podcast. I'm going to do a solo show today, and I get to hang out with Drew Baker from the band The Jackknives. And
Yeah.
I guess a little bit of backstory between us. Like, we played two shows with my band last year. And from there, we just became friendly and just, like big fan of the music. And I see you guys doing a lot of cool stuff. We're going to do a show in July. So I was like, you know what? I listened to the podcast that you were on, Signal Chords or whatever, and I thought to myself, like, I have a podcast. I'm like, let me talk to these to fucking Drew and everyone because the podcast for me and my friend who we do it together, like it's no pressure. We do movies, music, pop, we do all this stuff, and on occasion, like, I'm like, oh, like I'm friends with this band. We play shows with them. I'm like, it's just my way of getting a backstory on you, your drumming, and the band and all this other stuff. So thank you for doing it.
Oh, totally. Thank you for having me. It's funny with you mentioned us playing shows last year, but you and we started linking up on the Ways Away Instagram because
Mm.
we were both posting on that, and like I started to check out Playing Dead. I was like, oh fuck, I really like these guys. And then unbeknownst to me, you guys, Simon booked you guys for our East Coast stuff right before we recorded the record. I was so fucking stoked to actually
Oh,
get to play with you guys and see you live because I'd been like checking out the tunes prior to that.
what are the chances? Yeah, that's so funny.
So,
I didn't know that you didn't know that. So,
uh,
but yeah, and I mean, Ways Away is just amazing, obviously, right? And for me, our DNA or mine really starts with Sam I Am.
oh hell yeah,
Big,
dude!
big,
Uh,
big.
uh, Astray is one of my favorite records of all time.
That's the one
Uh,
that got me into them. So
yeah,
in 2000, I was going to audio school, which is funny because you're a producer and you record, right?
yeah. Well, I'm a hobbyist. I self taught. My bass player for my other band has been teaching me. So
Okay, yeah. So
yeah,
same, same thing. It's what I wanted to do in 2000. And one of the guys that worked at the Institute of Audio Research in Manhattan made me a copy of Astray when I guess it had just come out. And once I heard Sunshine, I was like, this is everything that I loved about music, right? So it was
hell
just
yeah.
guitar driven, but it was still melodic. And that record, like I had Sergey on the podcast, maybe like a year or two ago, and I got to
Nice.
tell him just how much that record was a big deal for me.
Hell yeah, dude. For me, that it was the that track Mexico.
Oh,
I was
absolutely.
just like fucking blew my mind.
That's one
Um,
of my favorite songs on there for sure.
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that record start to finish. It's so goddamn good. And
I mean,
I saw
Mud Hill.
their oh dude, yes,
Yeah.
yes, fucking. But they're playing it in entirety at Riot Fest this
Riot
year.
Fest. Riot
Yeah,
Fest, I got to tell you, Riot Fest is one of those things that has just taken my heart. We went a couple of years ago, but every year consistently, I feel like in a land of nothing but festivals, right? There's festivals for everything. There's a
yeah,
hundred festivals. You're like, oh, this is the Joe and Johnny Jerkoff Festival, over here.
yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, that's new. But Riot Fest consistently, especially this year, like they really got some good fucking shit this year.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And was like, I just like some of the things I've been seeing, like, because Sam I Am's doing Astray, fucking Alkaline Trio's doing Maybe I'll Catch Fire. I'm just like, fuck, might need to make a fucking Chicago pilgrimage.
I want to, and the last time that's funny, right? So we went and I love festivals. My girlfriend does not. Right? So to me, I'm a music guy. To me, I'm like, yeah, I'll go to Chicago during Riot Fest because I want to soak it all in. I'm like, this is what, I went, we went for the Jawbreaker reunion year. So that was like,
Oh, hell yeah.
it was like 2017 or some shit. But at Queens of the Stone Age, Nine Inch Nails, like everyone you could ever fucking want to see. And it's just I'm a consumer, so I love it. And to her, I think if she sees one or two bands, she's good. She's
No,
like, I want to
uh,
go. I want to go.
I, I will say, like, festivals make me kind of neurotic now. So it was like, I wanted to go to that Jawbreaker year, but I wound up catching that reunion tour. Actually, I went to the Denver show because it was them, Descendants, Face to Face, and fucking Sam I Am.
Oh my
I was
God,
like,
I remember that.
dude, dude,
I
it was so fucking
Okay,
dope.
I remember that because first of all, those four bands are about as influential to what we do at like Descendants, Face to Face, Sam I Am, Jawbreaker, or like it's like, that's definitely part of the DNA. And I just mentioned when we had Sergey on, that was the show we were talking about because they were
Oh
just about
yeah.
to go do it, and
Oh fuck yeah, sick.
he's so funny because he has no filter. And I was like, "That's pretty cool." He's like, "Yeah, I guess it's all right." It's like we've been around for like 30 years, and we get to open up the show and do 30 minutes. Like he was kind of like almost down on it, and then like by the end of the conversation, he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess." He's great with that no filter. And then Ways
uh,
Away, honestly, like I can't think of a better rock band of the last 5 years. Like they're just so good. We got to play
oh,
with them last year and in Brooklyn, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm like absolutely just in love with that band.
I agree. Everything they put out is just fucking better than the last thing they put out. Like, and I remember, I think it was, God, I think that's when you and I started talking. I think it was maybe a video from when they like first played Program out in Fullerton, where I was just like, holy shit, who are these guys?
Who are
No,
these guys? Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God, so fucking good.
Well,
So
because Sergey did Racquetball Club. I remember with Blair from Knapsack. And they did one album, and then that band kind of quickly disappeared and Ways Away popped up during like the pandemic or maybe like a year before.
yeah,
It might have been like 2019. And then I heard like these songs and like Roam with a Ghost, and I'm like, holy shit. Like sometimes you hear a song, and as musicians, there's certain songs where you're like, fuck, I wish I wrote that song.
yeah, hell yeah.
Roam with a
Uh,
Ghost was one of those.
oh man, fucking so good. So I'm looking forward to that new album that's coming out.
Absolutely. So you
Uh,
guys have a new album coming out in like a week.
yeah,
And
next Friday, May 2nd.
so that's always fun, right? And when you guys came here, I remember we played Connecticut and New York with you guys, but specifically you guys were coming in town to do a recording with Pete from the Bouncing Soul. So I guess you guys kind of like booked some shows around that time.
yeah. We came in and we did New York with you guys at Arlene's, and then we did that cool like little joint in Connecticut.
I fucking love that. 10 Selden was like,
Yeah, that place is dope.
yeah, that place is like, so I talked to someone from that area because we were going to try to go back there or in that area. And I think they basically said that it's in the middle of nowhere, which they were right, and that
Yeah,
they don't sell alcohol. So it's harder to get people there. That's what I was told after the fact. But it was still cool. The sound was great. Like, I mean, the sound sounded like Irving fucking Plaza to me. Like I
Dude,
couldn't,
it,
right?
it sounded fucking super great. I loved it. Like that sound guy was killer, actually.
It was killer.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he was.
that guy
Yeah.
that guy was dope.
Yeah.
And like, well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a packed show or anything. Like, dude, again, like I loved watching you guys play. I love
We had a
watching Lenny,
great time. Yeah.
Lenny Lashley and then Rudy Nuno and the broadcasters who are homies, and like I love watching them play too. So yeah, it was fun as shit. Like,
That was fun, man. Absolutely. It was just one of those places that I'll always remember because I'm like, I got to come back here
yeah,
immediately. Like, there's like a basketball court outside, and I was told it was like kind of like a youth center or some shit. Like, it was
yeah,
just something like related to like youths and stuff like that. But it was just such a cool vibe that they had there. So, shout out
it
to
was.
10 Selden.
Fuck yeah, dude. That was like, but yeah, kind of like in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut, but super rad.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then from there, you guys like took off to go. I mean, that was the whole thing, right? So, like,
Yeah. So like after that show, we had like because that was a Saturday night, we had a down day in on that Sunday, where most of the guys went straight down to Asbury Park because we were starting to track with Pete that Monday, and then Brian, our bass player, came with me. I drove up to Boston to pick up this drum kit I had bought online. So Sunday we left Connecticut, drove to Boston, picked up the drum kit and then drove all the way back down to Asbury Park, so to start tracking the next morning. So by the time we got back, man, it was a good 10 hours on the road that day.
Yeah, I
So
would say for sure. And you must, so you and Brian, the bass player of the Jackknives, you guys seem to have a close relationship, right? You guys joined the band at the same time, I think, right?
yeah, roughly, like I joined maybe like 2 months after he did. He and I have been friends since like late '90s, since high school.
I could tell. I was like, these guys have even from the videos, the stuff that you guys post, I'm like, these guys have been friends. Like me and the bass player have been friends since we were kids.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like Brian and I became homies in some fucking high school. We used to have a band and like what God, I want to say like '97, like a shitty hornless ska punk band
yes.
called One Big Joke, and we were pretty terrible, but we had a lot of fun. So, yeah, and then oddly, like Brian Brian got hooked up with the Jackknives. I want to say it was like right around like fall of like 2023. I think he met Simon via like sort of like a musician's website. They were looking for a bass player. And a lot of the musical taste kind of lined up, like, Social D, like Gaslight Anthem, Bouncing Souls. And so Brian jumped in and recorded a couple of the songs on Ghost Radio. And at about the same time, their drummer left. And, Brian was like, "Oh, you got to check out this band that I'm, laying down bass for. Like, I think I'm joining." And of course, it's like one of those things when your friends like, "Oh, check out my band." Like 9 times out of 10, you're like, cool.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Can't fucking wait to listen to it." And I put it on, and I think the first song I listened to was "Are You Listening?" And I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "I actually really like this." I was like,
That's a
"These
good
guys are
song.
good." Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, dude, like Simon's a hell of a songwriter, and right about the same time, I actually started listening to it, and I told Brian, I was like, "Dude, these guys are good." He goes, "Well, as a matter of fact, they're looking for a drummer." I was like, "You are interested in coming to jam?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I am." So,
How far were you from them? Like, are you guys all in the same area?
roughly, I think Ferris, aka the Dragon, was the furthest. He lives like Oceanside, which is about a half hour south of us, south of Orange County. But yeah, I mean, like Simon lives maybe like 15 minutes away from me, and then
Okay.
Brian's about 20 minutes north of me. So
Are you guys all
yeah.
lifelong Cal? I know Simon obviously isn't, but are the rest of you guys lifelong or like all Cali born?
Yep, yep, we are. So, Simon grew up mostly in the UK, and then he started the band in Hawaii, sort of like a solo project, recording demos in like 2018, and then moved to California in 2022, and that's when he kind of
Oh,
started
wow. That's
doing the band
interesting.
for real. So,
So that's wild because I didn't know that it was like that's like a couple of years ago. And
yeah,
so from like the UK to Hawaii, like do you know what that move was all about? Like you just wanted to go to Hawaii?
Hawaii, and Simon likes to surf,
Okay.
so yeah, so that's I think a little bit of what brought him out there, but he moved from one island to another.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Oh, very cool.
they're almost identical.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in Cali? Like were you guys like you said, Orange County. And of course, listen, at the end of the day, I'm from New York, but I know when I think of Orange County, I think of Social D. I think, right? Like, am I off by
Oh
thinking that
no, no,
there,
you're totally right. Like,
who
I
else
mean,
is there? Like,
dude, I
on
mean,
that level?
on that level, I mean, hmm, for Orange County, I mean, this is like the mid to late '90s was such a big like ska punk scene in Orange County. That was like what gave birth to obviously like No Doubt, like Real Big Fish,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that shit. But like as far as
One
punk
one
rock,
big joke.
yeah, One Big Joke, the hugest band of them all. So we were together for a good solid year. Oh God, it was terrible. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
so
mean, like punk.
that
punk
was the
rock. I mean, like Social D is like the biggest, but like you have like Di. There's like a lot of like kind of like classics. Like I think TSOL from
what
Huntington.
were you gravitating towards? Like what was like the first couple of like albums like as a kid that kind of made you want to play music?
Fuck. It's weird. Like early mid '90s, dude. I grew up on a lot of East Coast hip hop, actually.
Welcome to the
Oddly,
club.
yeah, dude. So like old, like I grew up like old, like BDP, like fucking Run DMC, like De La Soul, Tribe Called
Oh,
Quest. Back when Jive Records was actually like a cool, like real label and shit.
I had
Um,
I had DMC drive out from New Jersey to Long Island to do a podcast.
no way.
Yeah, he
Hell
was,
yeah, dude.
that's how cool he was. He was just like, well, before Zoom, we were doing everything in person with my other show. There was a show called If I Ruled the World. And yeah, he was just like, "Oh, just come out to Long Island." And we were just like, "What are you
That's
doing?"
rad.
And he just
Oh,
came, hung out, brought us an album, so
oh,
for
that's super sick.
yeah,
Fuck
but
yeah.
Long Island for sure. Like you said, De La Tribe, like that was just, I mean, yeah, I mean that's my life. When we were in a parking lot, we all had to pick things that we all like. There was 50 of us hanging out in a parking lot. There was very few albums that everyone agreed on, and you had to pick it. It was usually like for us, it was like either Biohazard or
Oh,
like
hell.
Tribe Called Quest or De La Soul,
Fuck yeah, dude.
So it was like, okay, this is neutral. And Cypress Hill for us was big too,
Oh hell yeah,
which
dude! I
is
love old Cypress Hill, and then honestly, the very first Wu Tang Man like fucking
yeah,
changed my shit. Like that just blew
absolutely,
my mind. 36
yeah.
Chambers was just like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Um,
we got tickets in July. They're playing out. I mean, they're doing the tour, but we're gonna catch them in July with
oh hell yeah, with
Run the
Run the
Jewels.
Jewels.
Run the
Oh sick.
Jewels, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
Well, that was the other thing too. Is like what like fucking back when Raucus was like around, like old
Yeah,
Pump and
yeah.
Flow,
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
You're
whole shit was
you're
sick.
preaching to the choir with Company Flow. After that, then once he created Def Jux, like I was like really going into Manhattan all the time to like Aesop Rock, record releases and
Hell yeah,
basically everything that they did, Cannibal Ox,
Cannibal Ox, dude, the shit.
100%. Yeah, I had Vastar on the show, man. We talked Vastair on the show. We talked about the Cold Vein. So yeah, that was very, very big for me.
Hell yeah.
Do you remember Hangar 18?
No.
Okay, yeah. They came later on. And
Oh shit. All right.
the guy Tim, I'll send you a link. You might remember them. So they were, whenever they would do these Def Jux tours, he would, it would be like, like Aesop Rock and fucking, Cannibal Ox and then Hangar 18. But Tim does a podcast and me and him linked up and like we're like mad cool. And what a great fucking guy. And I didn't know. And then I was like, Alaska. I was like, were you in Hangar 18? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Hell
Fucking
yeah. All right. I gotta.
hilarious.
I'm gonna add that to my
Yeah,
fucking
the
thing.
first album is called Sweep the Leg.
Okay. Cool. Hell yeah, dude. I'm gonna find that. So, yeah, man. So like, I got like really into that like when I was young, and then
What about the
uh,
West Coast stuff though? Like, right? So like any West Coast stuff?
it's funny. Like, well, I mean, like I did NWA was cool. Like I liked some of like the Dr. Dre shit, like
But like
Snoop Dogg.
this like Souls of
But like
Mischief later on.
yeah, I was just saying Bay Area, like like fucking Del the Funky Homo Sapien, fucking
Yeah, yeah.
Souls, like all of like Hyro, like was fucking super cool. And mainly because like, to me it reminded me of like that East Coast sound where it was all like more jazz and like, funk bass versus like
Jazz. Yeah.
and like well sampled record versus like the super produced like keyboard like West Coast gangster sound, which like I liked, but I wasn't
It was,
so much
yeah.
into.
It's it's funny to listen to you say that because that was that was my disconnect, right? So like even when we would get like, like Snoop and like Dre and like whatever was popping, and it was just like kind of like so I my friend broke it down to me. He said they were sampling more like funk records, and in New York they were sampling more like, breakbeat and jazz records.
Yeah,
So when you hear like Eric B and Rakim, and you hear, that bass doom, 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 doom. Like you're like, wow. So that to me always that was always my thing, you know. And like I would listen to, I mean, NWA was different, you know, like you hear those records and they just have NWA on some of those songs just really have like I mean, a punk vibe to them because they're so brutally hitting you over the head like Public Enemy did and certain things like
Oh,
that.
no,
So
no,
yeah,
no, totally. And like, I guess the thing too about like the whole like jazz and breakbeat sampling as like a drummer, to me the drum sounds were like more organic versus like a lot of like again the keyboard driven West Coast shit. You know, like I just like that whole like the sampling old fucking drum sounds
were you
vibe.
always a drummer?
Yeah. I started playing, I think, fuck, when I'm 44 now. I started playing when I was like 14. So
You're a kid.
I was. I was still this fucking big. I was still a giant Yeti at 14, but it's all good.
I grew into me, and I'm 47, which is wild.
Yeah,
I can't
dude.
believe it.
I
47.
know. Same here. I was like, I don't even know where like the last fucking 20 years went, but here I am.
Yeah. I feel the
Uh,
same though, you know. Just a lot fatter, that's
yeah, same here.
it. But so like drums was always the thing, right? And then like now that you're kind of like you want to get into what production or like more of like an engineer or both.
Mm, you know, I guess a little of both. I'm kind of just like doing it as a hobby more than anything.
But do you feel like you like when you hear, you know, like when someone brings you like a demo, do you feel like you could enhance it? Like is that like a want? Like so, like if someone's like, "Hey, like what do you think the next transition should be?" Or like what do you think of this chord change type thing?
That's a good question. I don't have that much experience yet, so honestly, like the first thing I've mainly just been doing demos for like between like the Jackknives and my other two bands, but I just did for Rudy Nuno and the Broadcasters,
He
did
posted,
some
yeah, yeah.
I did demos for them for their new record they're going to start tracking. I think
He's got
next week.
such a great voice, that motherfucker.
Oh, I know, totally.
That motherfucking Dodger fan.
But dude, he's a hell of a songwriter too, man. So it was
Yeah.
like, it was fun like jumping into the studio with them and like, kind of putting some of like the things I've learned into practice and just like, engineering their writing demos, like pre-production demos from the ground up. But it was a good learning experience for me, and it was cool to check out all their new shit like early and like it's super fucking cool.
So like that was another thing, right? So Rudy posted about it and he said I think he wrote, he's like, all right, these the pre-production demos are done now, let's go track. And I'm thinking that's interesting. So I guess the purpose of doing that is to just what like have it like in front of you to see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then also to like, it's a good thing to send, their producer ahead of time, like, here are the songs we're bringing in, which kind of gives them, the producer sort of like a better idea of like, what they're going to be tracking, and they can kind of wrap their heads around it, even, if they have like creative input. So at least that's how like if I were going to be the producer on that record, then that's how I would interpret it. Like, they
That's
hand me
yeah.
these demos, and then I'd be like, okay, cool. I really like this. I really like this. This doesn't work so well. Like, I got a couple ideas for here. Here's some harmony ideas, etc.
We
So,
so we did that with just recently with our friend Dave, who, you know, his he produced You Can't Say No, Falling Apart, Emily Rugburn, and Super Wayne, right? So we started doing another four with him, and what he does for us is he just goes to our practice space for like if we usually rehearse on Tuesdays, so he'll be there 4 Tuesdays in a row. You know, the first is to hear where we're at with the songs, and then the second is to be like, you know, that's to the input. It's like, well, can you try this drum part over here? And then the last one is tempos, getting down the tempos before we go in and stuff like that. So we there was a time where we didn't really do that, and I think we were it probably bit us in the ass, you know, like we've been working this way for a couple of years now, and I'm just like, what the hell were we thinking before? Like this is how it should have been.
yeah, oh, totally. But and like, obviously, so Brian and I joined Jackknives in a 23, and then we tracked that record fall of 24. Like I've for like the last like 15 years, I've been very big on metronomes, like recording and writing to metronomes, because I remember back in the day, like when I'd record a record, it'd be like just go in and fuck with it, and it just always like on the back end, it always sounded sloppy to me. So I just really started, I really fucking being maniacal about the metronome. I don't
Yeah.
really use it when we play live because you kind of lose some of the vibe, but like when it comes to like tracking, like it really makes such a big fucking difference.
Yeah, also just for like the editing later on, or like, certain things that you might want to like mix around, it's a lot easier to just be like, oh, this hit doesn't sound good, we got to punch in here.
Yes.
Because if you can't punch in something, you're just like, well, I guess this is just what it is now, isn't it?
Oh, totally. And like, it just it if you don't have like your drums on point to a metronome and like a grid, then like, it just fucks with everybody when they're tracking. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like how do you do like good, consistent, like fucking palm muting if like your drums are like
Yeah.
get that, get that, get that, get that, but it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. But yeah,
so
live is whatever, live is the vibe. But
yeah. As long as I don't play it like, 9 times as fast as it's supposed to be. So which,
so
sometimes
tech
I get excited and I do.
Oh yeah, we all do. We all do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're like usually, we'll close out a lot of times with Everything Under the Sun, which is a song we have. Sometimes I look at like the live clips and I'm like, holy shit, I can't even get the melody out.
Oh, you do. I know it's funny. It's like I watch videos now of our first show at Arlene's, which is like spring of 2024, and it was like, oh my god, I'm playing the set so fucking fast.
Yeah,
I was just like so fucking amped up, and I swear I think that was like my second show with Jackknife. So
amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
so you,
so
you guys are pretty young as far as like a band, the history of the band goes. So all right, so you guys worked on this record with Pete. How many songs are on it?
what is it? 10, I think.
Good number.
10, maybe. God, is it 11 with the fucking acoustic song? I can't
There
remember.
is. There's that passenger. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, passenger side that we I sadly we wanted to do that with Pete, but it was like trying to get down like the 10 songs in 6 days, from start to finish. It was, well, we managed to get it all done, but we ran out of time for the
Yeah, I mean
acoustic
you have
side.
you have a
So
pretty strong window to knock out 10 songs. And how'd you guys link up with Pete, who's obviously in New Jersey? You guys are in California. Shout out to Pete too, the Bouncing Souls. My
fuck
friend
yeah,
John,
dude.
my friend John has been their sound guy for like a very fucking long time. I always forget John's their sound man.
Dude,
Until
Pete's the shit, man. Like working with him was so fucking rad. Like and again, it was kind of daunting. Like I think Simon had sent him an email, kind of like jokingly, like, "Hey, you want to produce the next record?" Pete was like, "Yeah, man, I'm down." And like that's kind of how it took shape.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah, he does a
yeah,
lot of great stuff there. I mean, a lot of, like Dave's other band records there. A lot of bands that we know go to Pete. So
uh,
that's really cool.
I honestly, like, I would love to go back to him, like having done it once. Like just his vibe is so mellow, and like he's so good at like what he does, and like has like a lot of great ideas and a lot of great input. Like it was cool too because like he threw in a couple of, like some guitar work, some backing vocals as well. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, it was just such a rad fucking experience. And then like at some point, during that, three of us went over to Brian from Bouncing Souls tattoo shop, Anchors Away, and we all got fucking jackknives tattoos.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, it
Yeah,
was so much fun.
that was the full experience right there.
Totally. So
So the songs that you went in with, like how quick did you write that batch?
yeah, honestly, it feels pretty quick. Uh, God, because what
Because
we
you guys,
recorded.
yeah, you guys had just released some music, right? Like whatever Ghost Radio and are you listening like that batch of
Yeah,
songs was different, and then you went in and did this, right?
yeah. So like I think Ghost Radio came out like beginning of 2023,
Yeah, I think 23.
24.
I
Okay,
think
no,
it's got to be
what is it?
23. I'm pretty sure.
Well, well, actually, no, because so we recorded in September of 24 with Pete, and we did. Oh no, you're right. It was no. Fuck, I have no idea. I was like,
Yeah,
my concept at the time is all fucked up.
I'm looking now. Let's see. It says March 2024 for Ghost
Yeah,
Radio.
that sounds right because I joined in fall of 2023, didn't I?
Okay, yeah, then that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like it's we started working on shit like you know early spring of last year.
What is
Like
the
Simon had a couple
songwriting
like
process like? Does everyone contribute? Is it Simon with like a skeleton of the song and everyone colors it in?
like everybody kind of contributes. Like Simon would have like ideas for a handful of the songs, and then Brian actually had like the rhythm parts for like chord progressions for two of the songs.
Okay,
And then like my input is kind of more like along the lines of like structuring and like
structuring, yeah.
the dynamics of it. And so like I would take like some of Simon's like
Which is big. That's
demos.
like really probably the biggest part is
That's
dynamics and
my
structuring.
that's my favorite part of it, and mainly because I don't know chords or music theory. So
Join the
I
club.
know, yeah, I know some, but very very little. So
Yeah.
I would take like their like homegrown demos, and then I would basically like track like my electronic kit to it, and kind of like work out some ideas, and like do it all through Pro Tools, so that way I could like copy and paste different parts and like moving them around, and I'd fuck with like different like um variations of drum beats, whether it's like like a good mid tempo, or you break that to halftime, kind of shit like that, and then we kind of like adjust and update the song based on that, and then like once it was all kind of in place, like then Ferris would kind of like start fucking aka the Dragon would start laying in his like icing on the cake, because he does like all like the lead parts and like the solos, and yeah, his shredding.
I just love the dragon. It's such a great name.
He is Dragon. Everybody asks like, oh, where'd you get the name from? And he'll tell you because he used to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So he became Dragon.
I was thinking more
Yeah.
of Bruce Leroy or something. I'm gonna
I
go with
I know.
that.
Well, it's actually it's a combination of like Dungeons and Dragons and fucking our love for Step Brothers.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Like, but you gotta call me Dragon. But you gotta call me Nighthawk. Oh,
yeah, yeah. Yes.
oh. But yeah, man. So like we kind of had like all the songs in place, and like all of them had like fucking like e drums on them. And then I think Simon had sent that to Pete, and then sometime in between when he sent them and then when we actually went in, I actually came back into the studio and just did like a quick, easy like live drum mic setup and retracked all the drums, um, to like all like the scratch tracks we already had, um, just to get a better sense of it and like really really dial in the song.
Yeah.
So, and then once we got into Asbury Park, as I was tracking, like Pete had some ideas of like kind of like tweak shit and make it like better and more like I don't know, just more in tune with the whole song, because
The whole song,
sometimes
yeah.
I would yeah sometimes I'd try to get like a little fancier than I needed to get.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, that's they're really it's unless you're in a band and experience it, like it's hard to like describe, that extra set of eyes and ears where it's like, oh yeah, you have this guy, he's recording it, but he's also producing it, and sometimes he might just move it to the left like one notch, and you're just like, oh, okay, that's pretty
oh,
good.
totally. And I mean honestly, like it helped quite a bit. I think
Yeah.
the first day I was tracking, because we did drums over 2 days. Like I was so tired, and like just obviously from traveling, playing 2 shows, and then doing my stupid fucking 10-hour drive to Boston and back. It was like, and then I was just like nervous going in, so like I barely slept the night before. Um, I I just felt like off my game that first day, and then finally like got some sleep, and then came back in the next day and was like, Pete. I think first track, Pete looked at the guy. He goes, "Sounds like a different fucking drummer today." So
Fantastic. And so what was it like to get it back all finished, you know? Because obviously you guys are, you know, big fans of the Bouncing Souls and, you know, the respect for Pete, you know, and you go cross country to make a record with someone who you admire musically. And then you come back, right? And then you start getting the mixes and stuff like that. What's everyone's vibe? Everyone's super happy?
super happy. It's Simon said it very well. He's like, what he wanted to do with this record was just make like like a good sounding, but like raw fucking punk rock record, and that's what Pete did with it. It sounds clean and like well produced, but there's definitely still that fucking raw energy to it.
Yeah.
So like again, I couldn't have been happier with the fucking mixes when they started coming back.
Yeah. And
So I
you
mean,
guys,
and me personally, I love what fucking Pete did with the drums. So
you, um, you guys also work very well as like a Voltron, you know, which is something bands, you know, should do more of, you know. I feel like you guys all cover certain spectrums of, you know, the promotion or getting the word out and stuff like that. So you guys are all, you know, pretty much firing on all cylinders for you know, for an album that I'm sure you guys believe in. And then so you guys get back and then you really book like what seems to be the longest tour that you guys have ever done. So
yeah, man. Like, honestly, the call kind of came out of the blue. It was just like, like Simon texted us all like, "Hey, what's everybody's avail through May 21st through the 31st?" Like, and it turns out it wound up being this Bouncing Souls H2O tour for 10-12 days through like the Western United States, and we're all just like, "Holy fucking shit!"
can't say no to
Um,
that.
no, like, dude, I mean, and we're like less than a month away. And words can't even describe how excited we are. And then I mean, it's funny too, is like we had actually our Vegas, the date of our Vegas show, which I think is like the 24th. That was going to be like our off day because Bouncing Souls were doing like punk rock bowling proper, and then we were kind of like planning our trip and etc. And then we got an email from Punk Rock Bowling about like checking our avail for that Saturday in Vegas. Where like, oh fuck, okay, cool. We'll maybe do like one of the smaller club shows. Cool. And then we said yes, and then all of a sudden, like a few days later, we saw the flyer that it was fucking Hot Water Music, and like
Yeah.
the Nothington was like, holy shit.
I can't
So,
tell you, yeah, hot water music. I can't tell you what a big fan I am, man. Just
oh, dude, me too. And like from a drumming perspective, man, like, and it's rad that like George plays
oh
for
yeah,
fucking
George,
Mouse and
hey,
Souls too. It's like
absolutely.
just like the relationship between drum and bass, really between Bouncing Souls and fucking like Hot Water Music. Like, dude, I just fucking blows my mind. Like,
So cool. Yeah, it's gonna be a very fun May.
yeah, oh, dude, I'm so fucking excited. Like, and again, like, I can't believe it's already fucking rapidly approaching. Like, it is. Like, I don't have no idea where time goes.
Um, yeah, man, Chuck, you know, what one of my big heartbreaks, you know, I mean, I guess he'll be back. I was supposed to play a show with him out here at AMH. But I think that's when like Laura Jane Grace maybe left the Frank Turner tour. Maybe she got sick.
uh,
I don't remember, but he got called in to fill in, and
oh shit.
he canceled his solo tour. I was like, oh my God, I really wanted to play with fucking Chuck Reagan. Uh, but you know, they said that once he comes back, that like they'll do the same lineup. But so aside from that, you guys have like maybe I feel like you guys are going out on a headlining tour yourselves. Was it like 12 dates or some shit like that?
Yeah, so it's and it's kind of like a little bit sporadic, but we're doing like it's like secretly pull up the flyer here. I'm totally not reading notes. Any, anybody that's listening, but no. So we're doing a record release in Asbury Park.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
What is it? With you guys,
yeah.
the Tillsbury's and
Lenny,
Lenny. What is that? I think July 19th.
July 19th. Yeah,
Yeah,
I forget the name of the brewery, but
Wild Air Beer Works, I think it was.
yes, you're right.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
something wild
Woo!
there.
I
Yeah,
study my notes. So,
yeah.
so we're doing that, and we come back and we do album release party like July 26th, Costa Mesa, with our friends in Empired and a couple other bands, and then we have like a couple like some more shows. Like we're doing like early August and like through Chicago, Philadelphia, and then we end in like Rochester, New York, with the like the Hoochie Festival with like Joan Jett.
That's
fucking
right, Joan
fucking crazy.
Jett. Yeah, so I know the old 97s are playing that, but like on a different day. But Joan Jett, if you see them play, my friend Annie does her lights.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Annie's awesome. She's in a band called Jackknife Stiletto, and
Oh,
yeah, it's a good name. And yeah, so she's been doing she does a lot of stuff for Joan and stuff. So, but I was like, yo,
hell
look,
yeah.
I said, look out for these guys if you remember,
Fuck
because
yeah. Yeah.
it's right. It's you said in June maybe.
Yeah, that one's so we do Chicago August 7th,
Oh,
Philadelphia
okay,
August
way
8th,
later.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah, then Rochester August 9th.
Okay, cool.
So it's I think like the Saturday of that Hoochie Festival.
Cool. And
So
I know another thing too, like aside from the record, what's the name of the album?
Into the Night.
Into the Night. Okay. So when it comes to like naming albums and song titles, like how does that go? Who's in charge of that? Simon?
Well, I mean, again, this is the first record that Brian and I are on. So, but yes, I think like the first two records, it was definitely Simon. So, and then this one was sort of a collective. Honestly, we kind of took it from the lyrics of the first single of this album,
Heartbreak
Heartbreak
Queen.
Queen.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
So, so yeah,
Okay.
we kind of came up with that, and then
Yeah, because
uh,
it's always funny with like naming songs. Like for like me, I just I don't know what it is. Like I'm so it's so not a thing for me, and I wish it was. Like I'll just name it whatever. Like whatever, if there's a song title or a name in the song, I'm like, yeah, you can't say no. That's it, you know.
yeah. Well, you know what's funny is for me, it's like so I have a third band that I sing in, and I specifically don't ever.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I don't ever use words from the lyrics to name the song.
Yeah.
I'm really weird about that. Like, I specifically don't use song titles that have start with the same letter of another song title that I have. I'm really fucking weird in that way.
Yeah,
But
everyone's got their thing, man. It just yeah, it's so we haven't done an EP in a while, so I haven't had to think of a name for an EP. Like we did six singles. You know, in 2023 we did three EPs in 1 year, which was probably stupid. And
ah.
then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm like, we're not Griselda. We don't need to do this. Let's just do six singles. And then the six singles worked out way better for us. So I was like, you know what? I was like, let's just do another four singles and maybe compile them onto like a 10-song album after we're
Hell yeah.
done.
Honestly, I like the fact that you guys put out as much music as you guys do. So
It just, you know, we're not touring. We're not like when you don't have like this avenue of being like, we're going to be here and we're going to be here. It's like, for the most part, I could only ask somebody for 4 minutes of their time and maybe they'll give it to us. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, that's how I look at it. I'm like, oh, and what we're going to do this time around, I'll tell you, because I want to try it, right? So we have four singles coming up, and when we did the four singles, me, Frank, who sings harmony and plays guitar, and Desiree, who just sings the backups, we did like the four demos with two guitars and three vocals just to get them down. And then like I was listening to them, we did it on Zoom, right? A Zoom mic. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, these sound kind of really cool. It just sounds like acoustic versions of these songs and they translate well. So
hell yeah.
I wanted to finish up the four songs and then do like the drop the first single and then wait 2 weeks and drop the acoustic single,
Oh, sick.
and then just do that 4 times. Because with streaming, you just have to be reminded after 2 weeks. People are like, who gives a shit? And then you drop the acoustic version, and then I think it just gives people like that, like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'll go
Honestly,
a
I'm into that. I like hearing fucking different versions of songs.
yeah.
Um, it's funny you say that because the other thing I've been working on with the guys this
Yeah,
year,
that's right. You told me. God.
yeah. So I've been like, I really like the first record that Simon put out, the for the Lovers for the Fighters, but it was something that he did, I think, mostly in Hawaii by himself, and it's like like drum machines and all that stuff, and I really love the songs. So I suggested, and what we've been doing is re-recording them, like properly and like updating them. So since like the end of last year, I've been like working on those demos with the guys. In fact, I just properly tracked drums for 6 of those songs a couple weeks ago, and Brian just finished bass. And then once we get back from Bouncing Souls, and we're going to start, recording fucking guitars and vocals, and eventually, hopefully, release that like updated EP by like the end of the year. So it'll be basically like 6 of the 8 songs from that first record, like it basically just updated to 2025.
That's always fun, like it, I was telling you, anytime I feel like we should do that, we end up not doing it, but like we have stuff where I'm like, man, I'd love to re-record this or redo this with the lineup that we have now. Uh so yeah, that's always like a possibility. That's
Dude,
always
it's fun, man. And like my big thing too with the whole thing is like, there are people that really dig those songs, and so like I didn't want to like update them to the point where like it's unrecognizable. Like,
well, I did the A B of was that Kill Me Tonight?
kill me first.
Kill Me First, right? So I did the
Yeah,
A and B. Absolutely. Fantastic. I mean, you could like it's not like you guys changed, like made it like drastically like, oh, this is a different song. It's like, no, it's like here's this version and then here's this
yeah,
fucking like one on steroids.
exactly. Yeah, it's not going from like the original shit to be like, oh, guess what? Now they're all fucking reggaeton
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
remixes.
Now, that melody you liked, done. But
No. And like actually one of my favorites, and this is actually what spurred the whole fucking thing, is the acoustic song on that first record, Fume. But like it was like an acoustic 6 count. I was like, I fucking love that song. I was like, I think it would be
oh
sick.
yeah, I know that
I think
song.
it'd be sick, like actually like sped up at like a little bit, fucking like full band electric, like, and so that's what kind of like really started this whole thought process of like
That's
updating that first record.
I saw that name, and so Fumi Records is what you guys have, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's our label, and there was one of his early songs was an acoustic one off of for the Lovers for the Fighters called Fumi. So
No, yeah, I know this song. It's cool. It's like nice and quiet. But like,
yeah,
what is Fumi? Is that a name?
that that's a good question. I know I've looked it up before, and I could not fucking remember what it was. Because that existed, well before I was in the
I
band.
was thinking, fuck you, music industry. What
Uh,
else? Fuck you,
well,
music.
it's funny. I was looking it up on Google. It says the name Fumi is of Japanese origin, carries significant meaning, often interpreted as notable, excellent, or history. No,
Oh,
so which
okay.
I'm assuming that's where it comes from. That's a Simon question.
That's a Simon question. Got it. And because Terry is Japanese.
Yes, yeah, his wife is
Because our
Japanese. So
bass player, same thing. Like my bass player Dave, maybe that's why we were just yeah. Because his wife's name is Mariko, and they're like that they just came back from Japan.
oh, nice.
They love
Oh,
it.
I'm fucking jealous. That's one place that's high up on my list that I have never
Yeah.
been.
When
So
he comes back, he's like tries to explain it to me. He's like, yo, he's like, it's cool. It's just he's like, you could eat gum off the floor. It's just fucking unbelievable. So they love it over there.
Well, it's funny. That's kind of like I've been to Singapore. It was like you could eat gum off the floor if they allowed you to chew gum. So
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. If they did, which they don't.
yeah.
So,
So,
all right, cool. So new record's coming out next week. I'll throw the links up.
sweet.
You got some videos up too. Uh, yeah, right. You did video. So you did a video for
Yeah,
Heartbreak Queen.
we did Heartbreak Queen, and then sort
Fantastic.
of and then we kind of did one for Punk Rock Heart, which was
Which was
sort of
like the
like a,
phone. It was like a right, like
yeah, sort of like a montage of like, live footage and
I
phone
was in
stuff.
there.
Yeah, that's right. And then Kill Me First was the most recent video, which was
Which was fantastic. Like,
thank you.
yeah, how did because I mean, really just like mimics kind of like a hangout and like a show. So like, how'd you guys put that together?
So our buddy Nick Riggs, who directed it, he also directed Heartbreak Queen and Ghost Radio.
Okay.
Like he was talking with Simon, and they kind of wanted to put it together like it was, sort of a live show, but just kind of showing like, the punk rock fucking community, and like the support that like is just inherent in like almost like every fucking show you go to. Like, and so Simon kind of put out a call like to our mailing list. Was like, hey, if you want to be a part of this Jackknife video, we're going to shoot it here. We'll try to have like 50 people there, and dude, it got filled up really fast. And lo and behold, like a whole bunch of friends and people, fans and people we didn't know showed up, and yeah, man, it was a
Yeah.
fun as fuck Saturday. So,
Oh,
and then
that's great.
we played the song God knows how many times, as one does in a music
Yeah.
video.
Yeah. Oh, I
but
know.
it's funny. I mean, even with that, dude, like just like everybody was just so fucking rad. Um, just for A, showing up, but B, like, just the fucking energy and like attitude, and just it was such a fucking fun day. Like I can't say enough good things about it. And like, we had another band that they played Jackknives played acoustically with last year because I couldn't make a show, but like Lost Puppy Forever came down from like San Francisco and like jumped in the video, which is rad because they play fucking punk rock, but we're like fucking giant dog costumes. Like they're fucking rad. Like you can't miss them in the video, and just like
Yeah.
the nicest fucking humans.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, man, it's it was, well, we were really fortunate like that many people were like down to like come out and hang out, and we had a bunch of like our friends too, like family friends.
Yeah, it's always a trip, man. Like when you make a video and people come down and you just like, I've been in that situation where you look at your friends and people that, you're friendly with and all these acquaintances and you're like, man, you're like, I'm lucky. Like
Yeah,
I'm so lucky you
totally.
guys just get to like just like come entertain my fucking, stupidity of jumping around and staring at a camera. Like,
It's 100%. So, and
yeah.
I mean that was fun too. Is like, and I've said it before, but it was like, like kind of like the other song, like Heartbreak Queen and Ghost Radio had more of a narrative to it, and whereas this was, mostly just like kind of like essentially like live footage in a way. And
Yeah.
so it was fun to watch Nick, our director, like really get down with it, like more so than he usually does. But like he was up, coming up with shit on the spot, and like suddenly we're like, where'd Nick go? And he's up in the rafters, like fucking shooting down, and
Oh, that's great.
yeah, dude, it's super rad. So like we all just could not be happier with the final product. I mean, to be honest, even like the first draft that he sent us, my response was no notes.
Yeah, you're like us. You're like us, man.
Yeah.
First of all, they don't even watch it. I'm the one that's watching it. And I'm like, perfect. And the director will be like, let me retouch it. I'm like, fine. Um,
Oh, but yeah,
so
that first draft, we were all just like that. I could not be happier with it. So,
yeah, I'm easy to please. I'm easy to please.
reply, no notes.
Yeah.
Moving on.
uh, yeah, so we're gonna wrap up, but before we do, I just wanted to, as a lifelong California guy, me, obviously never been there, which is funny so far. What are some movies that you think capture California perfectly?
Hmm. God, that's a good question. Huh. It's funny. It's like, like the last couple of years of like weed being legal and shit. It's like maybe like the first 20 minutes of Savages kind of makes sense
Yeah,
because it's like fucking like Laguna Beach and shit.
yeah.
That's a good question.
Or what are some movies
I,
that like you grew up watching that you feel kind of like, attached to being from Cali?
hmm, attached to. Uh,
Like I could watch Goodfellas and be like, man, New York is fucked.
it's funny. It's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood recently,
Oh yeah,
like kind of brings me back. Is like I work in LA
yeah.
when I'm employed, like a production manager, and so like it's cool to like see like all that. God, I'm trying to
That's a
think what else.
that's a good one, man. I'll tell you. I went in to get first of all, Tarantino is a god to me.
Oh
Uh,
hell
like just a god. I was listening to Robert Rodriguez on Rogan's podcast last night, and he was talking about a bunch of shit, and it made me so in the mood to watch From Dusk Till Dawn that I put it on last night, and it's just I
yeah.
fucking that fucking intro scene where like they're hiding it, it's so good. But I went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and in my head I'm thinking like, okay, I'm watching a Charles Manson movie made by Quentin Tarantino. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be violent. It's going to be insane. And then by the end of the movie, I was like, I fucking did not enjoy this movie whatsoever. And then it wasn't until like I rewatched it with different eyes. It's like, this isn't about fucking Charles Manson. This is
Yeah.
about his adoration and love and for Hollywood and these movies and the what if from old
Oh,
Hollywood to new Hollywood. Because at the end of the movie, it says once upon a time, and you're like, son of a bitch. You're like, you got me. Like, you just made this thing. You gave your own ending, and then you're just saying once upon a time, and you're like, oh, yeah, it's kind of like this fairy tale.
totally. No, God, it was so well done. Like, or when they were shooting that in LA, and it was like you would see like fucking Hollywood Boulevard, like all fucking set dressed as like that era. It was crazy. It was kind of surreal, actually.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Uh,
It was like not too long after that was done. Like me and my buddy and his fiance, we were like, "All right, we got to start hitting up some of these fucking old restaurants." So we finally went to fucking Musso and Frank's. I was like, I don't know how I've never actually been here before. This is crazy.
I
Uh,
mean, there's places everywhere, right? Wherever you live. Like, anytime someone's like, like my niece comes up from like Myrtle Beach and she's like, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm thinking, like, why? I'm like, that's not cool. It's like, I want to go to Times Square. I'm like, I guess. Like, no one goes to Times Square.
yeah. Wait, to be fair though, like our first show in New York, my buddy and his wife that came out to see the show and hang out. I took him to see Times Square because they'd
No,
never been. I
yeah,
was like,
that's where, no, absolutely. I'm saying for me who lives here, like for anyone else, you're like, oh, like, because to me, I'd be like, oh, let's go to the Hollywood sign.
yeah, that is very true. And what also to be fair, I think I was microdosing at the time too. I was like, wow,
Ah,
Times Square is bright,
yeah,
but
hell yeah,
yeah,
Times
yeah.
Square.
That'd be like me taking somebody to like the fucking like Universal City Walk. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I get, yeah, like, my niece coming up, she's just like, oh, Times Square. And I'm like, oh man, it's so crowded and you have to
I
take a train there. Um,
don't
so wrapping up to anything that you've been binge watching on TV.
know. Yeah, I just finished. God, I just finished the agency on what was it, Showtime? I think with fucking Fastbender. That was
Yeah.
fucking really good. No, honestly, the studio. You and I have been talking about that on Facebook. The studio is fucking amazing,
So good.
fucking amazing.
So good. Like I just, it takes a minute for me to really, I have to really be into something and I'm a movie guy. So to me, when the studio started, every like little Easter egg about it, and the fact that it seemed like Entourage meets Curb Your Enthusiasm, I was just like, this. Every episode has been better than the last.
Oh, I agree. Oh, And it's funny. With like the first couple episodes, maybe give me a lot of anxiety because like the camera work is like so
It's
fucking
so
frenetic, like
frantic.
intentionally. I'm like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the last couple episodes have mellowed out a little bit, but it's so fucking good. And you're right. It's like every episode is better than the
The
last.
third episode where he keeps bumping into that guy when he goes to the top of the stairs with the Ron
Oh,
Howard one. He
oh
just
God.
keeps bumping into that same fucking guy.
Oh, I know. And like I love Seth Rogen, but like I fucking love Ike Barinholtz. Like
Yeah.
he's so fucking underrated and like
And that the
yeah,
two girls there, like I don't know, the younger girl with the she's great, and then Catherine
she's
Han,
oh my God, Catherine Hahn is fucking amazing.
she is so funny in that fucking show.
So good. So yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with the rest of the season. So
Yeah,
um
at the moment, that's the tops for me, man. That's like that. I'm loving Mobland, but like
oh I
Stu,
am too. That was good.
yeah, I'm three. I think I'm up to episode four, and Severance, of course, obviously. But Severance is like my girlfriend's obsessed with Severance, and then I watch Severance, and I'm like, am I just a moron? Like I'm just like watching it, going like, this looks cool. Everything's so entertaining about it, but I'm just like, what? I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
That I have to start that one. I had started it, and then I got sidetracked, and then I'm like, it's been a while now, so I'm like, oh fuck, I got to go back from square
Yeah.
one. Oh,
Uh,
you know what I actually really enjoyed too, and I didn't think I was going to. What is that? Maybe on Peacock. The Day of the Jackal was
I know. Yeah.
surprisingly fucking entertaining.
So the Day of the Jackal, I don't, I didn't watch it, but it's like, is it Carlos the Jackal? Is that what it's
I
on?
think
Like,
it's like loosely based off of it, but it's like Redmayne playing like basically the assassin, which is
but
sort
he's
of
an
like an
assassin. Yeah, he's an
yeah,
assassin. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah.
sort of like an odd fit because like I'm just like picture like Fantastic Beasts, and I was like, well, suddenly
Yeah.
Newt is an assassin, but honestly,
Yeah.
he's really good. It was fucking way more entertaining than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, what a golden age for just media. You know,
God, I
it's
know.
like you could be like what last year Jury Duty was one of my favorite shows, and it was on Freevee, and I'm like, wow, like what doesn't have a TV show that's good? Like
Oh, I
there's
know.
like
Seriously.
so many fucking different things. But
Well, I mean, good to know that Fire Festival now will become a streaming service, so that's good. We'll see what they put out. Just
Fire
kidding.
Festival.
Yeah, that idiot that was trying to put the Fire Festival on. That was like in like the Bahamas and shit. That got like
He has a
that nobody.
streaming.
He said the last thing I saw was the Fire Festival was not going to become a festival anymore. It was going to be a streaming service, and then now he's like trying to sell the brand Fire Festival. It's like
So here's my thing. First of all, those two documentaries they did, right? The Hulu one and the Netflix one,
yeah,
absolutely fascinating. Just a fascinating fucking train wreck.
oh yeah,
I could rewatch them, right? But here's what I will say about that guy, and I understand his want to finally, like, I understand because people like I can't believe he's doing it again, but I'm thinking like the only way you could unchump yourself in a public forum and get your fucking balls back is if you actually pull off the thing that you never did.
yeah.
So if he was able to pull it off, he'd be like, you know what? Bumpy road, but here we are. I guess he still hasn't. But like I get
Nope.
his motivation.
Nope. Like
Yeah.
he kept like announcing that it was like going to happen, and like the town Playa del Carmen was like, we don't have any permits. Like nobody's
Uh,
applied for permits, and so finally it got postponed and then canceled, and they've been refunding everybody's tickets, and then suddenly announced it's like, I'm going to become a streaming service, and then shortly
that I
after that
don't
he's like,
get.
yeah, and then shortly after that he's like, I'm going to sell the brand Fire Festival. It was like, you're you're not a brand. You haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So go
I'm
figure.
we're gonna close out with give me as a musician five albums that you think people should listen to.
Copy that. That's a good question. I'm gonna go with fucking Fugazi. Um, 13 songs. Um, or fucking repeater, either way. Uh,
Either one
yeah.
works.
Honestly, I think fucking Mars Volta, D Louse in the Crematorium
Wow, Televators.
is oh my god, that fucking album. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh, God. Um, it's so good.
Yeah.
And these are just like some of my personal
Yeah,
favorites.
yeah, for sure.
Tortoise TNT,
Okay.
one of my favorite records of all time. Um, Honestly, I'm a huge fucking Bjork fan.
Yeah.
Um, it's a hard to pick what one I think is best, but I'm gonna maybe say Medulla actually, just for the sheer brilliance of it, with like Mike Patton and Rozelle like doing like
Wow.
most of the production like via like fucking beatboxing and shit.
Fucking Rozelle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then God, honestly, I'm gonna have to go fucking Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory. I think that is like a hip hop record is fucking untouchable.
It's pretty untouchable. I mean, first of all, I don't rap, but when I hear excursions, I back in the days when I was a teen, like
Oh
I
yeah,
could do the whole thing in my brain. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I know every single fucking thing. And
oh
then
yeah,
fucking bugging out when you hear
oh
that
yeah.
hi-hat.
Oh, dude, and then like just like what's the scenario? Like
Oh no,
fucking
the ride
introduce.
cymbal, the ride cymbal, that's
I
it.
was like introduced by so many people like fucking the genius of Buster Rhymes.
Yeah.
It was like who I mean I loved in like Leaders of the New School, but it was like
Nah, this
no.
was the break. Yeah, this was like you could argue you could say that the greatest feature of all time.
Oh, I agree. So yeah, so I would have to throw that up in there.
Solid five, solid five.
Yeah,
All right,
was
listen.
that five? I think that was five. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
that's right.
five. The only one I don't know is the Tortoise album, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Oh, dude,
I know the
it's
name,
it,
I just don't I don't know the album.
oh, dude, it's the one. I love it. The fucking cover art is basically just like it's made to look like a fucking Memorex burnable disc with just
Okay.
like a little fucking like black and white drawing of a guy on the
Yeah.
cover. It's
Oh, that's
fucking dude, it's so good.
okay. Yeah, that's the only one
Uh,
I'm not familiar with, so I'll have to check that out. Drew man, thanks for hanging out with
Dude,
me.
hell yeah, Sam, thanks for having me. Uh,
I'll put this out. I'll put the links to the new album when it comes out, and fuck, man, I'll see you in July.
Hell yeah, dude, looking forward to it.
Yeah, tell everyone I said what's up,
I will most definitely. Likewise.
brother. Later.
Yeah.